Hi there, my sweet friends. Happy Tuesday night and welcome to Children's Church. No, Miss Nicole is not confused on what day it is. It is Tuesday, and Tuesday is our new night for Children's Church, at least for the next 12 weeks. So no more on Sunday night will I be online teaching Children's Church. It will be on Tuesday night from now on. And there's a very special reason for that. Here at church in person, we have started a new Bible study called Unshakable Hope by Max Lucado. And the children and I each Sunday are learning one of the lessons in that study. And so we decided that it was best to teach that on Sunday here at church. And then the children who are at home can get their materials they need from the church or from me. And then I can teach them online on Tuesday. So this week we get to do our very first lesson together. And I'm super excited about this because it's one of the coolest parts of the Bible to Miss Nicole. And it is from the very first book of the Bible. Do you know what the very first book of the Bible is? Did you say it? Genesis. That's right. It is from the book of Genesis, the very first chapter. In the very beginning. Does anybody know what was there in the very, very beginning? What was the only thing there in the very, very beginning? Before anything else was there? God. That's right. Genesis chapter 1 starts at the very, very beginning, where there was nothing and no one else besides God. Because God, as we know, created everything. So before everything was there, God already was. So when God created all these things, do you know how many days of creation there are? Oh, I heard someone say it. How many days? 7. That's exactly right. There were 7 days of creation. On 7 days, God created everything in the world. And we're going to talk about those things tonight. So let's start with our memory verse, though. Because each week I'm going to give you a verse to memorize. And so we're going to start with that tonight. Are you ready? It is from the book of what? What book? Genesis. What chapter are we talking about tonight? 1. And this is verse 26. Then God said, "Let us make human beings in our image to be like us." And this is the word of God for the children of God. Thanks be to God. So, how many days of creation were there? 7. And on each one of these days, God did something very, very special. Now, if you have the materials that I sent home with you, and if you don't, it's okay. I want you to take those out. And there is a page that has each day labeled. And if you don't have a page like that, you can just do it on a piece of paper. So we're going to talk about all 7 days. On day 1. Do you know what was created on day 1? The light. That's exactly right. On day 1, God created light and dark. And light and dark made morning and day on day 1. On day 2, what was created? That big blue thing up above our heads and above the trees where the birds fly and the stars live. The sky. That's exactly right. On day 2, there was the sky was created. On day 3, any guesses? It's that thing that we walk on, is where the grass grows. The land, that's right. Also, he created the water that's in between the land, which is called the oceans and the seas. That's exactly right. And he also created on day 3 those things that grow in the ground. What are those called? Plants. That's exactly right. So on day 3, the land, the sea, and the plants. On day 4, he made 3 very special things. You know what they are? What's that big giant ball of light in the sky during the day called? The sun. That's exactly right. And what is that other light called that shows up at night? The moon. Exactly. And what are those things that twinkle in the night sky? Stars. Exactly. So on day 4, he created the sun, the moon, and the stars. Now on day 5, he created something else. 2 something else's actually. 1 are those little things that are in the water, in the oceans and the seas that swim around. Fish. Exactly. And he also created those things that are up in the sky that fly around above our heads. What are those called? The birds. Exactly. He created the fish and the birds on day 6. Or on day 5, pardon me. And on day 6, he created 2 more very special things. You know what they are? One of them is those things that walk on the ground, but it's not me and you. Some of them are furry. Some of them we keep as pets. Animals, that's right. He created the animals that walk on the land. And on day 6, he created some very special things that kind of look like me and look like you and have 2 legs and walk around. What are they called? Humans. Exactly right. And in our memory verse from tonight, it says that he created them in his likeness. Now, what does that mean to be like God? On day 6, he created human beings in his likeness. Does that mean we look like God, like physically? No, that's not what it means. Let me ask you a question. If you look in a mirror, or if someone takes your picture, when you look at the picture, or you look in the mirror, is that actually you? Like, is that physically you, your body? No, it looks like you, but it's not actually you. It is a reflection of you. And that's what our memory verse means tonight. We are made to be a reflection of God. And what does that mean? Well, that means we should act the way God created us to act. We should reflect God out into the world. We should be like Jesus, his son, and show love and grace and kindness to all those around us, because that's what God gives, and we should give the same. Now, you might have noticed I only named 6 days. And how many days did we say there was? 7. Do you know what God did on that 7th day? Well, I can tell you what he created on the 7th day. Nothing. So if God didn't create anything on the 7th day, what do you think he did? He rested. He took a break. Can you imagine how much work it was to create all those things? I bet God might have been a little bit tired. I mean, God's God. He can do anything, but he also needed rest. So God took a break on the 7th day. And he rested and he made it holy. And that's the reason God reminds us to take a day of Sabbath and a day of rest as well. Even though we work so hard throughout the week to do all of God's work, we have to remember that our bodies and our hearts, they need a break sometimes. And it's okay to rest. We work and we do, and we are the hands and feet of Jesus. But we've got to rest sometimes too. So that is our lesson about the creation story and the days of creation. Did you learn a little bit? I hope you did. Maybe this week while you're at home with your family, you can go over that and see if you can remember from your memory what God created on what days. And if you can, shoot me a message. And if I see you at church, tell me about it. Or if you don't come to church in person, maybe you can send me a little video of you telling me what happened on all those days of creation. I would love to see them. But I am so thankful that you joined us for Children's Church tonight. And I will see you for our next lesson next Tuesday night. I hope you have the very best week, my friends. Bye.